Who's going to make it to this year's college football playoffs? Hey, stick around, and I'll let you know my thoughts going into Week 8. Hello, welcome back. It's Gamecock Chuck with another video. Hey, before I get started, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment in the comment section below. Hey, for all the new subscribers I got, hey, I appreciate your love and support. Also asked you, like I said, share this with any of your friends or any Gamecock or college football fans out there. Encourage them to subscribe to this channel if they like college football, if they like Gamecock content. Subscribe to this channel. Also, I want to give a shout out to my main man, SEC Football Tube. He does a great job, puts out good content for the Gamecocks. Go out there, check out his channel, like and subscribe to his content, and let him know Gamecock Chuck sent you his way. Hey, like I said, this is going to be a video. We're going to talk about some of the contenders, some of the teams that I feel have an opportunity to make the college football playoff this year, just based off, especially the top 10. When I look at the top 10 teams, there's a lot of these teams that have an opportunity to get there. A lot of them have some very strong work left to be done. But if they make it through a daunting schedule the rest of the year, I feel like they have a very good opportunity to make it into the playoffs. Now, this video, I'm not going to put out 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm going to talk about at least 8 teams and talk a little bit about them. And then after that, I'll give, the 4 teams I think is going to make the playoffs. We're going to start out with Oklahoma State. They're a very under the radar, underrated team in my opinion. They're very good at home. They haven't lost a game at home. They got some quality wins under their belt, some top 25 wins. They go on the road to take on Iowa State. Then they stay home, play Kansas, go on the road to West Virginia, at home to Texas Tech, or TCU, my bad, TCU. Then they go on the road to Texas Tech, and then they round off the season playing their rival Oklahoma at home. So it's going to be a crucial matchup there. I feel if they can get to the final game against Oklahoma, I think they have a real good shot of shaking up the playoffs and getting in there, sneaking in there. It's going to take a little more misfortune from the other teams I'm going to talk about, but I think they have a great shot of getting in. Next, we're going to stay in the Big 12 and talk about Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they have Kansas coming up. They play Texas Tech. They go on the road to Baylor, play Iowa State, and then they finish out the road, against Oklahoma State. I think, Oklahoma, they're a pretty solid team on offense. I think Baylor's going to give them trouble. If they can get by that Baylor game and get to Oklahoma State, undefeated, I think the winner of that match, if it's an undefeated versus undefeated, I think whoever wins that matchup is going to make it into the college football playoff. I kind of like Oklahoma State in that game, to be honest with you. Like I said, they're pretty solid on defense, and they haven't lost so far at home. So next team we're going to talk about, we're going to go to the Big Ten. We're going to talk about Michigan. Michigan, they got some pretty good wins this year. But the thing about them is they got a very daunting schedule left to go. They play Northwestern, then they go on the road to take on Michigan State. They take on Indiana at home. Then they go back on the road again against a good Penn State team. If Sean Clifford's back, it's going to be a good Penn State team. And then they go back on the road, stay on the road and go to Maryland. And then they finish the year off at home against Ohio State. Outside of that Penn State game, I really don't see a whole lot of issues on their schedule until they get to the Ohio State game. I think if they can get through their schedule undefeated and get to Ohio State, it's going to be a big opportunity for Jim Harbaugh to make a statement and get a signature win right there, against Ohio State. And I think that would give them an opportunity to play for the Big Ten championship and possibly an opportunity to get into the playoff picture. Next team I'm going to talk about is Oregon. Oregon, they go on the road this weekend to play UCLA, Colorado. They'll be at home for that game. Then they go back on the road against Washington, at home against Washington State, on the road again to Utah, and then they finish out the season at home, taking on Oregon State. Oregon, they had a very impressive win early in the season when they beat Ohio State. Outside of that, they really haven't had a whole lot of, I guess, big time wins to put on their resume. So I think they're gonna need a little help as well to get into the 14 playoff. But we shall see how that plays out. The next team we're gonna talk about is Ohio State. Like I said, some of these teams are going to have to play each other, and it's going to eventually weed yourself out. And Ohio State is one of them teams. They got wins. If they go undefeated this year, they'll have wins over Penn State, Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan. Teams like that. I think the key matchup in this one is going to be, like I said earlier, if they get undefeated to Michigan, then whoever wins that game gives that team the better opportunity to get into the playoffs. Outside of that, they don't play. Outside of that, they play Northwestern, Indiana, and Maryland on the road. So I think they go pretty much unscathed until the very last game against Michigan, in my opinion. So the next team we're going to talk about is the Cincinnati Bearcats. My opinion, I'm excited to see that a team from outside the Power Five is up there in the top five, the top four right now currently. They have wins over a Big Ten team. Granted, they're not good, Indiana, but they still got a win against a Power Five team, and I think that goes a little way. I think that puts a little weight on their resume when the selection committee looks at it. They also had an impressive win on the road at Notre Dame early in the year. Now, the only test they have left, in my opinion, is SMU, because outside of that, all they play is Navy, Tulane, Tulsa, South Florida, and East Carolina. So I think, if they could make it to the SMU game without any troubles and then take care of business against SMU, I feel like Cincinnati deserves a shot to be in the top four, or the discussion to be in the top four to make it to the playoffs. The next team I'm going to talk about is the Alabama Crimson Tide. When I look at Alabama, they're coming off that heartbreaking loss a couple weeks ago to Texas A&M, but they're still not out of it. The reason why I say that is they do not leave the state of Alabama in any more of their games this year. They at home for every game minus the last game. They take on Tennessee, LSU, New Mexico State, and Arkansas all at home. The only game they have away from Tuscaloosa is in Auburn. And like I said, they don't leave the state of Alabama until the SEC championship game. I think Alabama does not have a problem with any of them teams up until the Auburn game. If they can get by Auburn and get to the SEC championship with just one loss, I think they stand a great chance of getting into the playoffs. My final team I'm going to talk about is none other than the number one team right now currently, the Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Bulldogs, they're coming off of a beatdown of number 11 Kentucky last weekend. Took care of business there. Their schedule they have left is against Florida. They go down to Jacksonville to play that world's largest outdoor cocktail party, or whatever you want to call that game. Then they come back home and take on Missouri. Then they go on the road to take on Tennessee. Back home to Charleston Southern, and then on the road to Georgia Tech to finish out the regular season. So far, Georgia has been the number one team, number one defense, and they've steamrolled just about through everybody they play. And looking at their remaining schedule, I see nothing that's going to change that the rest of the season. As far as the regular season, I think Tennessee may give them a few fits, but early on in the game. But I think by the second half they will be in complete control and dominate that game and finish the regular season 12-0 to be the number one team in the country. But when I look at all four of these teams, like I said, or all eight of these teams, the four teams that I feel the most confidence with right now going into week 8 is Cincinnati. I think they're going to make it. I think they have no trouble with SMU because they have a stout defense, a high-powered offense. I think the thing that's going to trip them up would be the playoff committee, But I think, like I said earlier, I think they deserve a shot to get in there and mix it up with the Power 5 teams of the country. The second team I think is going to make the college football playoffs is Alabama. That's right. I said Alabama. And the reason why I say that, y'all may think, well, Alabama's going to have 2 losses. Hold your horses. I think Alabama is the team that's going to give Georgia their first loss this year, and that's going to be in the SEC championship. I strongly believe that. Georgia has not faced a team of Alabama's stature. Alabama's solid on defense. They can produce offensively. Georgia's not faced a team that can have a consistent offensive, output. And I think Alabama gives Georgia that, I think that gives Alabama a chance to take down Georgia in the SEC championship, and that's why I think they get into the playoffs. The next team, of course, Georgia. They're only going to have that. In my opinion, I think they're only going to have that 1 loss, and I think that is not going to keep them out of it. And then the final team, out of all these 8 that I talked about, if they take care of business and everything goes their way, I think Ohio State makes it in again this year. The other 4 teams, like I said, I think they need some help. I think in order for Oregon to get in, I think they're going to need one of these top 4 that I just mentioned to have a couple losses. They probably going to need Alabama probably losing the SEC championship, or Ohio State to lose a couple of these big matchups with Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue, whoever, Penn State. Or either they're going to need Cincinnati to just totally blow it down the stretch. I think that's the only way Oregon gets in. Michigan, I think the only way they get in is if they take care of business and end up beating Ohio State at the end. Oklahoma State, I think they have the longest shot of getting in. They got to remain undefeated, and they also need some help from the top 4 right now. So, but like I said, that's my 4 teams: Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Cincinnati. That's who I think is going to get into the college football playoffs. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you think I'm right, think I'm wrong, let me know your 4. Also, like I said, like, share, subscribe. Help me grow my channel. If you know anyone out there who likes Gamecock content, likes college football content, hey, direct them my way and encourage them to like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, Gamecock Chuck, checking out, baby.